why we age and how to slow or reverse the effects of aging by focusing on the cellular and molecular pathways that exist in all cells of the body and that progress those cells over time from young cells to old cells. By elucidating the biology of cellular maturation and aging, Dr. Sinclair's group has figured out intervention points by which any of us, indeed all of us, can slow or reverse the effects of aging. Aging is not the normal and natural consequence that we all will suffer, but rather that aging is a disease that can be slowed or halted.
Aging is 80 to 90% the cause of heart disease, Alzheimer's. If we didn't get old and our bodies stayed youthful, we would not get those diseases. And actually what we're showing in my lab is if you turn the clock back in tissues, those diseases go away. So aging is the problem. And instead, through most of the last 200 years, we've been sticking Band-Aids on diseases that have already occurred because of aging, and then it's too late. So there are a couple of things. One is we want to slow aging down so we don't get those diseases. And when they do occur, don't just stick a Band-Aid on, reverse the age of the body, and then the diseases will go away. Well, let's start with what I think was a big mistake, was the idea that people should never be hungry. We live in a world now where there's at least 3 meals a day, and then we've got companies selling bars and snacks in between. So the feeling of hunger, some people never experience hunger in their whole lives. It's really, really bad for them. It was based, I believe, on the 20th century view that you don't want to stress out the pancreas, and you try to keep insulin levels pretty steady and not have this fluctuation. What we actually found, my colleagues and I, across this field of longevity, is that when you look at, first of all, animals, whether it's a dog or a mouse or a monkey, the ones that live the longest, by far, 30% longer, and stay healthy, are the ones that don't eat all the time. And we showed in 2005 in a science paper that if you have low levels of insulin and another molecule called insulin-like growth factor, those low levels turn on the longevity genes. One of them that's really important is called SIRT1. But by having high levels of insulin all day, being fed means your longevity genes are not switched on. So you're falling apart, your epigenome, your information that keeps your cells functioning over time just degrades quicker. Your clock is ticking faster by always being fed. Well, if there's one thing I could say, I would say definitely try to skip a meal a day. That's the best thing.
Does it matter which meal, or are they essentially equivalent?
Well, as long as it's at the end or the beginning of the day, because then you add that to the sleep period where you're hopefully not eating. I don't get the crashes of the high glucose and the low glucose. That anyone who goes, oh man, it's 3 o'clock, I'm gonna need to sleep. If you do what I do, you will not experience that anymore. Because what my body does is it regulates blood sugar levels naturally. My liver is putting out glucose when it needs to, and it's very steady and gives me pure focus throughout the day. And I don't even have to think about lunch. I'm just powering through. Well, there are two good things about plants, and neither of them is taste for me. I would eat steak all the time if I could. I did when I was a kid. I'm Australian. But plants have two benefits. One is that they're highly nutritious, and they'll give you a lot of the vitamins and nutrients that I need. I don't take a multivitamin. I don't want to have the excess iron in my body. So there's that high density nutrition. So those dark leaves, if it's a spinach salad, great. The second is that there is what's called xenohermetic molecules in plants. That term, xenohermesis, is a term that I came up with my friend Conrad Howitz, which means stressed plants make molecules that benefit your health. I'll break it down. Xeno means between species, and hormesis is the term whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger and live longer. And the idea is that when plants are stressed out, think of a grapevine that's dried out and they're starting to harvest the grapes, which is typically how it's done. They are full with resveratrol because resveratrol is a plant defense molecule that I think is made to activate those sirtuin genes in a plant. So plants have sirtuins just like we do. But by purifying or at least concentrating in a light-proof bottle and keeping it out of the air, we stabilize this xenohermetic molecule, or it's a cocktail, not just one. There's others in wine. We then ingest those and get the benefits of activating our own defenses because our food was getting stressed out. And by stressed, I don't mean psychologically stressed, I mean biologically stressed. And so I try to eat plants that have gone through a bit of stress. They might be brightly colored, they've had too much sun or got nibbled on by a caterpillar. So you go to places where it's organic or it's fresh, local, and those are the plants that aren't perfect, and they probably have high concentrations of these molecules. And in addition, I also buy the supplements to make sure I'm getting enough of those as well. But what do? I base my exercise on the scientific literature, which has shown that maintaining muscle mass is very important for a number of reasons. The two main ones are you want to maintain your hormone levels. I'm an older male, losing my testosterone and muscle mass over time. And by exercising, I will maintain that and have. In fact, I probably haven't had a body like this since I was 20. What I think is really interesting is that what we're learning from work that you and your colleagues have done, and in my lab as well, is that the body has remarkable powers of healing and recovering from illness and injury. And what we once thought was a one-way street and you just can't repair, you can't get over these diseases, you can reset the system. And the body can really get rejuvenated in ways that in the future we'll wonder, why didn't we work on this earlier? We published what's called the metabolic winter hypothesis, which is a few tens of thousands of years ago, we were either hungry or cold or both. And we rarely experience that now. And so we try to give ourselves the metabolic winter. And part of the problem, I think, with the obesity epidemic is that we're never cold. And when you're cold, you have to burn energy. It may be only slightly, but over the whole night, if you're a little bit cool, you'll actually expend more energy.